Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. We're back with another sport mode time trial to earn you the 2 million credits that have come available for this new combination. So if you do enjoy these videos, they help you out, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We will be doing these every single time they are uploaded. We've already done, I think, from week 2 I think onwards up to now. We missed out on the first week, but we've done every single one since then, and we will be making sure we do them every single time they are uploaded to help you get them 2 million credits as easy as possible. Now for these guides, I don't really push these laps to the maximum. What we do is we just jump on while we're live, get a reasonable lap done, a lap that we're pretty confident will get the gold time, and then we'll put it into a guide to try and give you the basic tips, because you know some people just want to know the very basics to earn them the 2 million credits, and then they can move on. Now the current time I think is on the low 2 minutes 17s. I do think that you'll need probably, I think 20.5 should be good enough for a gold, but you know, I think anything lower than 20.5 you'll be good for the gold no matter what. So yeah, if you aim for a 20 flat, you're going to get the gold. Now this lap that we're going to show you now is a 19.1. like I said, I didn't push it to its maximum, but I think we've got enough detail in this guide to really make sure that you can get the gold also. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through a few tips, get you the gold on this time trial, and yeah, don't forget to let me know in the comment section if it's managed to help you out, if you've gained some time using this guide. And yeah, let's get on with this guide and get you as fast as we can on this new time trial. Okay, so starting your lap, obviously final corner, try and get a good exit from here. Now a short shift to 5th gear on this corner will give you a bit better traction. This car does like higher gear, so that is one big point that I need to make sure that you're aware of. Try and stay out of 3rd gear as much as you can, although you do have to use it briefly. So turn 1, we're going to brake quite a bit short of that signboard above our head there. Now you're braking short of it because you want to make sure that you're slowing the car down. Now staying in 4th gear, we're going to hold 4th gear for quite a while and then down to 3rd gear as we're rotating it into this corner, kind of using 3rd gear to help with the rotation. And then you want to get your left hand tyre just to skim this curb on the left. You're aiming your left hand tyre over that curb, and then what you're going to do is as you hit that curb, you're going to get on the throttle ever so briefly there, and then as soon as the car is straight lined, once you're pointing in a straight line, onto the brakes, and then trying to get the car slowed down and rotated for this right corner. Now you're staying in 3rd gear through here, right hand tyre onto the yellow bit of tarmac will really help with rotation. So just stay off the throttle, off the brake, let the car rotate, and then when the grip's there, start putting 50% throttle in, and then work your way up to 100% once the car's settled. Now 3rd gear is a bit sketchy, so be careful in that. Upshift to 4th gear, and then we're going to work our way into this left hand corner, which you're going to do by just simply a tiniest little dab of brakes. You're going to try and get your car rotating into this corner. Left hand tyre needs to try and get onto that curb on the left. So you see tiny bit of braking input going in, nothing too drastic, and then we're just coasting, still coasting. Then when that left hand tyre is onto the curb, onto that throttle, and then briefly get the car straightened up and onto the brakes. Now at this point you're going to be trying to slow the car down, so you're rotating at the same time. So braking, rotating, waiting for that apex to hit, and then on that throttle once you're close to this apex. Now ideally you want to be your right hand tyre onto this curb. I'm a little bit far away from here, but we managed to get on the throttle reasonably well, and just be careful you don't run too far wide. Just try and be nice and smooth on the exit there. Right hand tyre on the curb, you'll be fine, and then work your way down into the next braking zone. Now I use this reference here as a very good reference for your braking zone. You can see it just as we come up to this point here, the start of that triangle for where the white starts there. Use that as your braking reference. You can really slow the car down nice and easy there. Stay in 5th gear as well. You see I'm putting a tiny bit of throttle input as well into this corner. This is a corner that you kind of just use a tiny bit of throttle to stabilize the car. Down to 4th gear, and then get the car in on the apex, and then once on that apex, throttle input is going in, and try and use the full width of the track to enable you to carry as much speed up this hill. Now be careful again, at this point the rear does become a little bit loose, so just be very cautious of that rear end on this car, and then you're working your way through these really fast corners. So again, start of the curb, good reference for your braking, use that to help you slow down. So as we hit that point, we're on the brakes, and now we're going to start rotating this car in. So we're going to go down to 4th gear to help with that rotation, and then we're going to go back up to 5th gear before we get into the apex, because this actually helps keep the car nice and smooth. You can see that throttle input going in, and now we're going to start taking a lot of curb off here. You can actually take quite a straight line through this section. So right hand tyre is going to go all the way onto the grey bit of tarmac there, and then for this next part you're going to again do something very similar. As we come into here, you're going to see left hand tyre over the white bit there and really attack the apex, so you can get over the curb, throttle input going back in as we go over the curb, and then Now it's just powering all your way out of these corners. Now through here, it's just a pretty simple thing. Keep your left hand tyre up to that curb on the left there, and now it's about rotating it into this right hand corner. Now one thing you might need to do is a little lift off the throttle. I think you can do it completely flat if you get it right, but I just give it a little lift there just to keep the car nice and steady and make sure we don't understeer wide on the exit here, because all we're trying to do here is get the 2 million credits. We don't care about going for a world record on this one. It's all about 2 million credits. Now we're working our way down the hill, and we're going to brake just after the 100 board, and you can actually use that little reference on the left hand side as a braking point. Now I brake just before that. You might need to brake slightly early. You can see I downshift to 5th, hold 5th, then down to 4th, and I might have braked fractionally too late, because ideally you want to get your right hand tyre to rotate into that apex there so you can get on the throttle nice and early. However, I slightly missed that, but we do manage to get on the throttle and keep the car quite smooth and rotated on the exit and use the curb there, so we don't run wide and we carry quite good speed up this hill. So we got away with that one. Now we're working our way into this next left and right hand section, which again, you're going to be aiming to get that left hand tyre onto the curb as close as possible. If you need to give it a brief lift here, you can get away with it. There's plenty of time to play with. You can see I give a little brief lift off the throttle again, just to help with rotation. That puts the weight to the front of the car. Also means it's more likely to rotate at the top of this hill. So when you get up here, you're now trying to get it to the left hand side so that you can get it into this right hand corner. And again, a little safety lift before this corner is all that's needed, and it will really help. So again, as we come through the corner, lift off that throttle briefly, just helps rotate the car, and then you can get back on the throttle for the exit. So off the throttle, then back on the throttle, and then rotating all the way through to the exit. You see the left hand tyre onto that curb, and now you're looking for the next braking zone, which we're going to brake around about that Marshall board. Now you can brake, I don't really use that. I do it more by reference of distance at this point, you see on the brakes, but it is a pretty good reference to use. You're almost dead level with it as you're going through there, so you might find that easier. Now we're going to be rotating this car in. You want to get your right hand tyre to skim the curb on the right hand side. You can see that curb that you're looking at in the distance there. You want your right hand tyre to just get onto the edge of that curb and then follow the line all the way through the corner onto the throttle nice and early. And then as your car gets onto this curb on the left hand side, you're going to brake just as that grass, you see that little bit of grass in the middle there, use that as a reference for where you're braking. A tiny bit of braking input. You're not going to be aggressive on the brakes here. It's just a tiny bit of braking input just to get that right hand tyre onto the curb again. And then short shift here. I short shift to 5th gear. You're going to see a little short shift to 5th gear just to stabilise the car again, because the car can become a little bit loose in 4th gear on maximum acceleration there. So that just helps you keep that nice stability on the exit. Now we're going into the final corner. We're going to use that little bit of change of colour where the grey fence ends there. You're going to use that as a reference if you want. Again, I do it more by a visual reference. So onto the brakes nice and early here, and then rotating the car into this final corner. So down to 4th gear. However, we're going to go back up to 5th gear before we get into the apex. You see, cars slightly drifting up to 5th gear, power your way out again, and work your way to the finishing line. Now we're going to go over the line on, I think it's a 2:19.1. Not the best lap you're ever going to see, but it's a pretty solid lap. So hopefully that can help you out. I'm pretty sure that's going to be gold by at least 9/10 of a second. So like I say, if you can get a 2:20, I think you're going to be safe. Now I could have pushed this onto the 17s if I really wanted to, but there's not really much need. What I'm trying to do with these guys is just give you the basics to get that gold and to give you the 2 million credits. So hopefully that's going to do it. Now watch the lap again from the chase camera. You can see how we're using that full width for the track all the time. Again, you see kitting the car over to the right hand side and then just letting the car coast into this corner. A little bit of braking input. Ride that curb on the left hand side to help get the car rotated into this right hand corner. This corner is very important for your lap time, because the earlier you get on the throttle there, the more speed you carry down into this next braking zone. You can actually gain 2 to 3 tenths quite easily on that corner alone. And then for this right hand corner, again, this is where we ride the brake with a little bit of throttle input. You can see that tiny bit of throttle input going in there just to stabilize the car. And then again, be cautious on the exit here, because you can see that rear wants to step out slightly, so just be very cautious of that as you exit that corner. And then through here, this is all about down to 4th, then back to 5th for stability, and you can just stay in 5th gear then all the way through it. It won't unbalance the car with the gear change. So staying in 5th gear, keep the momentum all the way through these corners, and then powering your way into the next braking zone, which you're going to see a little lift on this corner, but then it's a major braking zone. So a little lift there, and then we're going into the next braking zone, which is at the bottom of this hill. And again, this is an important one to get right. You're going to see I braked fractionally too late, and you're going to see I was quite a distance away from the apex, but because we got the rotation, we got away with it. So as we come through here, cars away from the apex, but we got the rotation there while getting on the throttle, so probably lost a couple attempts there. But you can see where there's so much time to find on this. You know, if you hook up a lap here, you're going to be easily in the 18s, I predict, at least the 19 anyway. But I'm pretty confident that anything in the 19s should get you the gold on this one, hopefully, fingers crossed, with the times that are already on there. So into this right hand corner now, again, use that curb to rotate the car. When your left hand tyre gets on the curb here, straighten up onto the brakes at the start of that green bit of grass, and then working your way now into the final section. This is all about keeping it smooth here. This final corner, you want to get that rotation started nice and early, and then short shift to 5th gear. So again, you can see it, 4th gear, rotates the car, starts a little bit of a slide, up shift to 5th, steadies it all down, and then just use that 5th gear all the way to the finishing line. So yeah, let me know if this guide's helped you out. I'm hoping it will do. Make sure you subscribe if it has, and I'll see you for more of these guides in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.